Welcome to OurSport. I'm Larry, I'm your host. John, as always, is doing recording and editing, providing occasional commentary as he will this entire episode. So we took a hiatus for a few weeks. There's a reason, I'm sure everybody knows about it. Things got a little crazy. But we're back to our regular schedule, and we're going to have a full first round mock draft, our last mock draft before the actual NFL draft. And here's how we're going to do it. Basically, John is going to take the odd teams that are picking 1, 3, 5, 7. I'm going to take the teams that are picking evenly. And we're going to run it like this. Before, in our earlier mock draft, we kind of had it where what we think the teams might do. Dave Gettleman prefers a certain prototype, like a size player, so we had the Giants drafting a size player at 4. But here, we're going to do it how we would do it. We're going to do it if we were in charge of the team ourselves, what we would pick. Now, John and I watch football together. We grew up watching football together. He did. And so there's a little bit of proximity bias in terms of maybe how he looks at players because, I taught him a lot of that. But he definitely has his own mind. We've definitely disagreed on players and what we think about them. So I think we're going to have not necessarily kind of simpatico. There's going to be enough variance to make it interesting. Also, we're going to have trades in this draft. We didn't have any in the other one. We wanted to keep it kind of chalk. But we're going to have trades in this one. And again, we're going to do what we feel we would do if we were running these teams, whether it would be in our best interest to take that trade. So, we're going to start it off. John starts. Number 1 overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals.
With the first pick in the OurSport 2020 NFL mock draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow, quarterback out of LSU. Washington Redskins, you are now on the clock.
Burrow's a predictable pick. What they're saying in Cincinnati is if they don't take him, they're going to basically burn the city down.
Yeah,
so that's no surprise.
You have to take him to the spot.
And you're not considering anybody else at this spot.
No, not really. No, not really. Even like the Dolphins have 3 first-round picks over the next 2 years. They have 2 this draft and 1 next draft, and they're in striking range. And I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take 3 first-round picks for Joe Burrow. This is a franchise quarterback. You have to take it.
Fair enough. Speaking of franchise quarterbacks, with the number 2 overall pick, the Redskins, I'm going to take Tua Tagovailoa. I don't like Dwayne Haskins from what I'm hearing about him. This started from last year. Last one in the building, first one to leave. Didn't know what it took to be a professional quarterback. And you hear that one of the stories coming out was his knowledge of the playbook was so bad, they were wondering if he had dyslexia, the new coaching staff.
Which he's not, by the way. He's not dyslexic. He can read. He's just,
And also, let's not forget this. We don't know if any of that's true. Now, especially, we're going to have this out about a week before the actual draft. It's going to be fresh kind of content. But anything you hear in this last week, or maybe anything you heard in the offseason, could just be posturing. They could be putting that out there intentionally as an excuse to draft another quarterback. But that's what I do with the Redskins. With the Redskins, I would take Tua Tagovailoa, Alabama quarterback. The injury risk is real. The upside is enormous. I know all the surrounding talent he had with him. He's just surrounded basically by first-round picks all over the place. But on his own, his accuracy, his timing, he plays with a twitch. He plays fast mentally and physically. I just think he's a great prospect, and I would take the risk. I would always try to upgrade that quarterback position over what Dwayne Haskins looks like he's been so far.
All right. The Lions are now on the clock.
With the number 3 pick, the Detroit Lions.
Who are going to trade down? The Miami Dolphins at the number 5 spot are going to trade the Lions. They're going to switch picks.
Okay.
And they're going to give them their 2nd round pick to trade up with the Lions. The Lions only fall 2 spots back, right? And with the 3rd pick, the Miami Dolphins are going to take Justin Herbert, quarterback at Oregon. Because there's panic here. There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback, including the Dolphins. The Dolphins need a quarterback. And the price to go from 5 to 2 and from 5 to 3 is like this. You can still get a franchise guy without spending every first-round pick that you have.
And the Lions are not taking a quarterback. The whole board falls to them. They didn't know that at the point.
The whole board falls down now.
Okay.
So, with the top 3 quarterbacks out of the way, the Giants are now on the clock.
One question. Did the Lions get enough? Maybe they could have got that late first rounder from Miami.
It's not that late. It's mid. I think it's like 18th overall, and they have actually like
18 to 26.
They have a pick like power scale, a chart.
Yeah.
It shows like the value of each pick,
Yeah.
and basically, if you did that trade because they're only moving up 2 spots,
Right.
they'd basically be ripped off.
But what about being gouged for a quarterback? Maybe you pay more because you know there's the only quarterback left.
Maybe.
Okay.
That means now that the whole board has fallen down to the Giants at the 4th overall pick. Everyone but the top 3 quarterbacks, and they're all sitting there.
Okay. The Giants, I have at number 4. The Giants will trade back. They'll trade down 2 spots to the LA Chargers. And they're going to get a second-round pick out of it. Again, we're doing like what I would do if I were the Giants, or what I would do if I were the Chargers, all the even teams. All right? So here's the plan. Players I want for the Giants at one position are still going to drop. And the Chargers desperately need to find a way to stop Pat Mahomes. This is the whole focus of everybody in the division now. It should be. And how do you match up with Travis Kelce? What's the best way you could do it? How about a linebacker running a 4.39? The Chargers taking Isaiah Simmons at the 4 spot to match up, be a cornerstone player. I kind of compared him to George Webster from Michigan State back in the day, who didn't have as much of a pro career, but is very similar to this player. And that's why I have the Chargers taking Clemson linebacker Isaiah Simmons at number 4, giving up merely a second-round pick to do it. Giants drop down 2 spots. And the Lions, who traded down, are on the clock.
See, now this presents a tough situation between 2 Ohio State players.
Right.
I did not expect Chase Young to fall as far as he did. And I
didn't take Young because I got Bosa and I got Ingram. I got the rush already.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, I think
about those athletes, by the way. Derwin, James, and Simmons in the back end. That's how you match up.
I have some very detailed notes on every team. And I knew I was probably going to trade with the Dolphins because I knew he liked Tua. I knew he was going to take him at 2.
That's right.
I knew I had to get that quarterback at 3. So I knew I was going to trade down. And so I have them taking Okudah. And if he's not on the board, take Simmons. Now, Chase Young has fallen. And
TikTok.
I think you got to do it. I think at the number 5 overall pick, the Detroit Lions are going to take Chase Young, edge rusher out of Ohio State.
Okay.
And now
that is good value.
Means the Giants, after their trade, are back on the clock.
All right. Giants back on the clock. Number 6 pick. Picked up a second rounder. And the reason I dropped is because, is there a trade offer on the table?
Yeah, this is John Ola, general manager for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we want to trade up with you. We are willing to give you a switch right now. So
Yeah.
we're going to go from the number 6 spot to the number 9 spot.
Right.
And we're going to give you our 42nd overall pick.
I want the 1. You got a 1 right there at 20. I want that 1 as well. I will give you the second-round pick that I happen to pick up somewhere in this draft from the Chargers. That's an early second-round pick.
All right, so we're going to switch.
Right.
I'm going to give you the 20th overall pick,
And
you're
the
going to
9th.
give me the high 2nd.
Yeah, I trade my first right here, and it's going to be on the screen. John's going to put it up there. And I go from 6 to 9. You get the 6, and I also get your 20 this year in this year's draft.
All right.
Okay.
Done deal.
And with the number 6 overall pick, the Jaguars select
Derek Brown, defensive tackle out of Auburn.
Oh, that's a great pick.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I wanted
a
to
good
get
pick.
up ahead of the Panthers.
Right.
If he started to fall, if he got to this point, Jaguars want to get up
That's
and get
fantastic.
him. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jaguars select number 6. Panthers on the clock.
So after some reworking of the draft board, I get to pick again because I traded up. But with trades, you still keep the pick.
Right.
So
He's going to take the odd. I'm going to take the even. But if I trade down from an even to an odd pick, I will retain those picks. Which also means, too, that he's going to make some picks from the Dolphins, and I will make some picks from the Dolphins because they work out even odd.
And
Whatever.
Some teams have multiple picks.
Right.
Yeah. So at the number 7 overall spot, the Carolina Panthers are sitting here, and I did not expect this to happen at all.
And this happens in drafts a
who
lot.
Just fell into their lap, but good old Jeff Okudah.
Yeah.
Top corner in the draft, great player. Shut down the Clemson wide receivers. I mean, he almost never gets beat in one-on-one coverage.
That's a great pick.
And yeah, he fell. He probably shouldn't have gotten this far.
Okay.
And now you have 3 picks in a row.
I have 3 picks in a row because I traded traded my Giants pick back.
So you're picking with the Cardinals, the Giants, who've now traded back twice,
Right.
and then the Cleveland Browns.
All right, with the number 9 overall pick.
8.
Thanks. With the number 8 overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals, I am taking C.D. Lamb, receiver out of Oklahoma. Far from a need. I know what you're saying. They drafted a bunch of receivers last year, Andy Isabella, players like that. They already have a good slot in the Christian Kirk. Larry Fitzgerald is still there. They traded for Dustin Hopkins. But Lamb's a special player. We kind of talked about him, and we're like, I always have to say, who is he? Who is this player? What does he remind you of? And the Nuke Hopkins comparison is one people use. I think it's not quite accurate. If you look at the old highlights of Andre Reed, he is so similar to Andre Reed, who I think was the most underrated player on those Bills teams in the 90s. And he really doesn't have a lot of flaws to his game. He's also very young. There's some talk that Nuke Hopkins is actually beginning a decline phase already, and Larry Fitzgerald is in his late 30s. You will need a receiver like this. This is a long-term thing, and there are players on the positions I wanted, but it's too good a value. I just like C.D. Lamb so much. And at the number 9 pick, the Giants, this is why I kept trading down with the Giants. I want an offensive lineman to protect my quarterback, and there's a bunch of them there. Now, I don't like the fact that I missed out on those studs at the top, Okudah, Simmons, but this has to be a priority for me. And with that, I'm going to take an athlete, someone who could grow with my quarterback. I'm going to take Tristan Wirfs, left tackle out of Iowa. The first freshman to start, I believe, for Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. That's really impressive. It's a very safe pick. Those guys know how to produce NFL offensive linemen, and he has a lot of raw athletic talents that some of those guys before him didn't have. There are more technicians than him who could be good at what they did, but he also has really elite athleticism for the position. So, the Browns, I always said this, I don't think I'd be the best general manager in the league, but I think I could be better than the worst, which might be whoever's running the Browns. But at this position, the Browns also need an offensive lineman. This was a disaster for them last year before their pothead left tackle got busted about 40 pounds of weed. He's probably going to jail. So I'm going to take another offensive lineman, huge Mekhi Becton out of Louisville, 6'7", 360, and his highlight film is just basically 60 minutes of legalized assault every time he's out there. And I love that.
Legalized assault?
It is. He's the things he's doing to some people are illegal in 14 states. So I love his size. He does have to get a little better in some areas, but the upside is huge. And I'm talking about he's actually an athlete for that size. He's putting up numbers that a 290-pounder should put up in terms of movement and agility at 360 pounds and has a main straight. So with the 11th overall pick,
the New York Jets are now on the clock. So with the 11th pick in the draft, the New York Jets are going to select Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Super sound, solid pick. They need help on the offensive line. Yeah. They could have drafted a wide receiver here, but I really think building on the line is a lot more important. Protecting Sam Darnold is what they really need to focus on right now.
Yeah, they invested a lot in him, and a lot of people have Wills as actually the best tackle in the draft.
Yep, and he fell right into their laps, and now that puts the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock at the 12th overall pick.
Okay. The Raiders publicly have talked about how much they need a receiver, and they do. But I'm running the team now, and not the Raiders. There's tons of receivers in this draft. Again, I got to stop this guy in my division. I have to play some defense, which means I need to get to this quarterback, Pat Mahomes. This is all I'm building for right now, is you have to win your division first. So you have to either get to the quarterback or stop his wideouts. And I'm going to take C.J. Henderson, corner from Florida, put him in my secondary. Almost everything is a need for the Raiders, maybe even quarterback at some point. But Henderson would at least give me a chance against some of these wideouts that the Chiefs have.
And now,
the number 13 overall
pick,
San Francisco 49ers
are sitting here. And
Ring.
Oh.
Ring.
Oh.
Phone call.
Yellow.
Okay. This? Hey, this is Andy Reid eating a cheeseburger while I'm polishing my Lombardi trophy. I want to get up to where you are at this spot.
It's going to take a lot. You're trading from 32 to 13.
Hey, you know what? I have a luxury pick. I won a Super Bowl. I'm not going to get fired for a couple of years now. And actually,
it's a good reason.
And my GM, Larry Ola, really wants to make an important move. I will give you my first rounder this year. I will give you my second rounder this year. And I will throw in my first rounder next year.
Yeah.
Now you're dropping back 13 to 32. That's an awful lot of territory you can drop back to.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting... Well, see, here's the big reason why this trade is good is because they're still giving me a first-round pick.
Right.
The reason why pick 32 is so much better than pick 33 is because of your rookie contract.
The fifth-year option.
Rookie contracts are a lot less than normal contracts. They're like $500,000 compared to, $30 million for a franchise.
But you want that extension. You want that.
So the rookie
Right.
contract lasts about 4 years. Unless you're a first-round pick, then it lasts 5 years. So you have an option to last 5 years,
Right.
which means you have an extra year without that huge hit to your salary cap, which is very important, which is why I'm going to take this, and which is why the 32nd pick is so coveted, and teams really try and get back into the first round at number 32, which means I could trade this pick again and maybe get good value.
Not only that, you also have 31.
I also have 31
have
because
31.
San Francisco 49.
Now, you're trading away from a lot of studs. You know that.
Oh, I'm trading away from a lot of studs, but
Right.
I think I can get some good value out of 31, maybe trade 32 again, and I get your pick next year in the first round. I think this is
Plus,
a good
if
trade.
you had to later, you could trade 31, 32, move up, and still get a first-round pick next year from this trade.
Huh.
Because you already got it from me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm trading this because I expect this. I expect to be picking 32 again next year. 28 at worst. I'm a Super Bowl team. I have the best player in the league. And the trade is good. We agree?
Yes, trade is good.
The Chiefs are on the clock. And with the 13th overall pick, the Kansas City Chiefs take Alabama receiver Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs, legit football player.
Oh,
4.27 speed.
You just created the fastest wide receiver
I want the
core ever.
fastest receiving core of all time. Pat Mahomes is young. He has the cannon bazooka arm. And I want to threaten defenses. I know they have McCall Hardman. McCall Hardman is not the player that Henry Ruggs could be. Ruggs he's not just a track star like John Ross. He is a legit football player. He's tough. He's got better hands than Jerry Jeudy. He plays to that speed. And I'm going to, you guys want to be cute? You guys want to think of C.J. Hendersons of the world and Isaiah Simmons? I'm going to blow the top off the defense and make you pay for it every time. Any one of my receivers could take that slant and go 80 yards if you blitz me, and my quarterback can get it there.
That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy. And there's players sliding down the board now.
Right.
Now they're playing. Oh my!
All right.
I'm like.
So at the 14th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So with the 14th overall pick, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ring.
All right, let me hear it. Who is it? Who's on the phone?
It's the Philadelphia Eagles,
Okay.
who are currently sitting at 5 picks behind you.
All right. What's the offer?
7 picks behind you. Switch picks,
Right.
right? And then they're going to give you the 3rd rounder this year,
Yep.
and their 3rd rounder next year.
Not interested.
They're going to give you their 2nd rounder next year.
No, not interested. Not where I'm at right now.
All right, fine.
Okay. All right, who's on the phone now?
This is now the New Orleans Saints, who are 3 picks behind them.
Okay.
And they want to give
At 24.
you their 2nd rounder this year and their 2nd rounder next year to switch picks.
Oh, that's a rich offer. Oh, that is a rich offer. I can't do it. I have my mind on somebody. I cannot do this
They
offer.
do too.
Yeah.
They have their mind on someone
Might be
as
a
well.
different player. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I said, is the phone ringing again?
No.
No. All right. What am I? I'm a team that's in win now mode. I have Tom Brady for 2 years. I can't afford to trade back and get out of the point where there's still 1 or 2 guys who can help my team win now, win immediately. And so I stay and I take Andrew Thomas, the left tackle, out of Georgia.
What are you doing? What?
Yep. I take him there.
What?
He's a polished player. He's considered as good as one of the other 3. There was kind of a mix of that top 4. They're all interchangeable. This is a good pick because he can come in. He's a 3-year starter at Georgia, and he needs to protect the quarterback. Their weakness on my team is the offensive line. I got plenty of wideouts. I got plenty of tight ends. I could use a back, but I want to protect Tom Brady. Tom Brady does me no good if he's on the ground. I take Andrew Thomas. It's not a reach. What's that look for?
What are you doing?
It's not a reach.
All right. Well, I'm about to
Okay.
make the easiest pick of all time.
I know who you want to pick.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. At the
But-
15th overall pick,
Right.
the Denver Broncos
Let me
are going to
guess.
take Jerry Jeudy,
Right.
wide receiver out of Alabama. How did he fall this far?
Wow.
How did that one happen? Oh, what, the Eagles and the Saints both wanted him.
Everybody wants him.
They were both
Everybody
trying to
wants
trade
Judy.
up ahead of Denver because they knew Denver wanted him.
Right.
And
But I could not afford at Tampa Bay to let the last legitimate first-round tackle out of my grasp. If I dropped that far, somebody could have taken him or trade up ahead of me again. So I had to take him. But Judy to Denver.
Judy now goes to the Denver Broncos, and at the 16th overall
What a
pick,
receiving core.
the
Hold on, let's talk about that. What a receiving core. You got Noah Fant, you got Cortland Sutton, and they talk about complimenting each other well. Judy's not Ruggs, but he has some speed. He can come and talk about an instant impact player. You give Drew Lock a lot of weapons with that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now at 16th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons are on the clock.
Okay, number 16, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, you have to think about that. In fact, we live in Atlanta, and I get more coverage of the Falcons than any other team. It's not a team I'm a fan of, but I know this team, and I have very specific thoughts about what I feel about this team and what I feel about its players, including its quarterback.
All right.
I'm not sold on Matt Ryan. I've never thought he's a franchise player. Tell me I'm wrong. 28-3.
I think I know you're...
This guy has blown 4 10-point leads in the playoffs. 4 times he's blown double-digit leads in the playoffs. And at this point, the value is there. I'm going to take Utah State quarterback Jordan Love. He's not ready.
He's not there, though.
He needs a year. And Jordan Love's going in the first round of this draft.
I know, but...
Right. I'm talking about what I would do. I do not want Matt Ryan as my quarterback, and he could sit a year, and he could learn behind Matt Ryan. Scouts have said this. He has more upside than any quarterback in this draft. This guy's a prototype build. He's twitchy. He had a great year earlier as a junior. As a senior, he regressed. He lost like 10 offensive players around him, 9 around him. He lost his coach, lost his offensive coordinator. He was trying to win all the games. He's playing at Utah State. He had some players drafted from Utah State. You don't recycle that through the program. You don't replace a player who's drafted with another drafted player there. Of course, the talent around him slipped. But he has a lot of prototype tools. And, yeah, I want to get rid of Matt Ryan. Yeah, and I'll take Jordan Love. Go ahead, Dallas Cowboys.
Now, the Dallas Cowboys, with the 17th overall pick in the draft, are going to take Christian Fulton, cornerback out of LSU.
Why Fulton?
Because he's good. And they just lost Byron Jones.
Yeah.
He was their good corner. And they need cornerbacks in the defense they run. They need a pass rush.
Yeah.
And they need some good corners.
You don't believe in Awuzie? You do.
He's good. He's not a prototype lockdown corner.
No.
They need a guy who can go out there and go toe-to-toe with the number 1 wide receiver, and they don't have a guy who can do that right now. Their guy was Byron Jones. Now he's gone. Also, picks on the defensive line. Chaseon's still there. Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State's still there.
Right.
But they already got Tank Lawrence, and they just lost Byron Jones. I think this really fills out a need that they had. And so now that means that the Miami Dolphins, again, are on the clock.
Okay. I'm picking a farm in this spot because it's an even pick. And, you know, John did a good job trading on 2 spots, left me his other 2 first-rounders. And he got a cornerstone franchise player on the offense, and I want one on defense. I want one in the middle of my defense that has some speed, that has some range, a high-character kid, makes a ton of plays,
The Raiders hate
a lot of upside. Kenneth Murray, a linebacker from Oklahoma, 240 pounds, can run, can hit, splash plays. Sometimes will run the wrong direction, but that can be corrected. You know, you look at his character, well talked about. He's a great kid off the field, and I can trust him on the field. The leader of my defense, right in the center, middle linebacker, Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma. And the 19th pick, the Raiders, who hate this. And I knew the Raiders needed linebackers badly.
Really need a
the Raiders
linebacker.
Are on the clock.
And if Simmons started to fall, they were going to try and trade up because they have 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
And he got taken 4. And now Kenneth Murray goes, I thought that I could just sit at, what is this, 17?
No. Yeah, I did get your corner
Yeah.
at least.
And then just sit and...
I did get your corner at the CJ Henderson pick at least. All right, with the 19th pick, the Raiders?
The Raiders select nobody because they trade down. They're going to trade down 10 spots to the Tennessee Titans at the 29th overall pick.
Nice.
The Titans move up and give up their second round pick next year, not this year.
Okay.
And now at the number 19 spot, the Tennessee Titans are going to take Clavon Chason, defensive end out of LSU.
Nice.
The Raiders really need a wide receiver, And this draft has a lot of wide receivers.
Right.
In fact, you can trade down and still get a very, very, very good value wide receiver. And the Tennessee Titans really need an edge player. There are 2 or 3 of those guys left, and they really want to get a premier one. Chason has now slipped a little bit down the draft boards.
Right.
They saw an opportunity, and they took it.
Okay. The New York Giants picking 20.
For the Jacksonville Jaguars.
For the Jacksonville Jaguars with this trade earlier. Well, I don't want to get rid of any of these pass rushers. The Giants take Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State. Length, production, and one of the few pass rushers left on the board that's going to be worth taking as a first rounder. Got all those defensive linemen on the interior, Dexter Lawrence's of the world, and I need an edge rusher badly, and that's what I take with that pick. 21, Philadelphia Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles are sitting here. They really need wide receiver. They're going to take T. Higgins, wide receiver at Clemson.
Big wide receiver. That was their 2 biggest needs last year, was corner and wide receiver. Yeah, they kind of covered it with Darius Slay, making that trade on that side of it. They had a lot of injury issues in regards to that person, but they have some contracts that are hard to get rid of that position. That is a good pick. 22nd, the Minnesota Vikings. All right, the value is just incredible. I've got to take Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. He will flash hot and cold, but the man has traits you cannot teach. For a guy his size to move like that and have length, I mean, the 35-inch arms, a huge reach, the man strength, and replaces a need I have on the defensive line. The whole defense is getting older. Xavier Rhodes got cut, and really fills a huge need. I wouldn't have liked him maybe at 12, but at 22, I'll definitely take this player, a player with huge upside, right in the middle of my defense. 23, the New England Patriots.
New England Patriots are they have a lot of needs across their team.
They're old. They're the oldest team in the league.
Might have taken Love, the quarterback out of Utah State, but he's already gone.
Right.
And so now they're going to take Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU. They really like their safeties, and he's going to be a really good one for them. Yeah.
Okay.
And now that means
Tackling issues that might have been related to injury. But
yes,
when he was the year before, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 24, the New Orleans Saints. Well, now they have Michael Thomas, who had about 6,000 or 7,000 catches last year. So you think they're finding a receiver.
Insultingly low.
Insultingly low. But if you look at it, they really don't have guys across from him that have this kind of production. If you get a guy to draw heat off, it doesn't matter. He beats double teams. So it can really help your offense out. And so I want another receiver. And I want Laviska Shenault, the big receiver out of Colorado. I thought about maybe kind of a burner type. It would have been a reach to get KJ Hamler. He can fly. He is regarded as a first-round guy somewhere, similar to Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. But I want a guy who could take that slant. I want a guy that Drew Brees has to drill the 18-yard deep out. I want a guy who could take that slant, take it in stride, and break tackles and go. And you see Shenault, he's built almost like a fullback.
You could have actually picked Jalen Reagor at this spot.
I could have, but again, I'm not looking for a speed guy. I'm looking for a guy underneath that can take a catch and break it. I want easy passes for Drew Brees, and Shenault played through a core muscle injury. He played. A lot of times you see this as almost a signature play. He'd take that catch. Some guy would try to tackle him. He'd bounce off because he's got legs like tree trunks, and he'd house it. And that's what I want to help Drew Brees. Yeah. And now you got to play the offense honestly. It opens it up for the running back who Alvin Kamara had kind of slipped last year, and maybe because he was facing too many loaded fronts. All right, at 25, the Minnesota Vikings. Dring. You got a phone call.
All right, who is it?
This is somebody who's not on the board.
Ooh.
This is the Houston Texans. Ooh. Bill O'Brien will make any trade he wants. I'm similar. I'm sitting here in the second round, and I don't have a first rounder to give you. I don't know. Second rounder this year, second rounder next year. Much I'm willing to give.
No.
All right, I'm going to throw in my fourth rounder this year. 2 2s and a 4.
No. How about your second rounder this year and your first rounder next year?
No, but I will give you my 4 this year and my first round pick next year.
No.
My 3 this year and my first round pick next year. It's as good as it's going to get. That's the final offer. Deal. Okay. At 25, the Houston Texans. What am I looking for? I have a great left tackle, Larry Tunsil.
Now who you're going to take and is who the Vikings are probably going
That
to take.
trade is awesome. Yeah, and not only that, I want to get ahead of Miami, the Dolphins. But I need more players. And so I'm going to take a 20-year-old project, athletic, ton of upside. You know what I'm going to take? Austin Jackson out of USC, bookend tackles. Kind of made do with the receiving core. Trade Nuke Hopkins, get Brandon Cooks in there. I got to have more than one offensive tackle to protect this quarterback. As long as I have this quarterback on a rookie contract, I'm in win now mode. Got to get another offensive lineman. Guy has a lot of upside. He's young. He needs to learn. But 2 young tackles to go with my quarterback, protected on both sides. 26th, the Dolphins are on the clock. All right, at 26th, the Miami Dolphins.
Have a trade offer.
Let's hear it.
This is the San Francisco 49ers. And they want to trade up to your spot.
Okay.
They're going to give you we're going to switch with the 32nd overall pick.
Okay.
Right? And then we're going to...
That way, still stay in the first round like he was talking about.
Still stay in the first round.
Okay.
And then we'll give you our 3rd round pick this year and our 3rd round pick next year.
Oh, deal.
Deal.
That's a steal. Absolutely. Yep.
Nice.
I'm the Dolphins. I need a bunch of players, and a player I'm targeting is probably going to slip to where I want anyway. Go ahead, 49ers.
All right. And the 49ers are going to take... Hold on. Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. And the reason for this is because there's 2 safeties that are really, really good in this draft.
Right.
And one's already gone, and Seattle probably wants the other. And so Seattle's picking next.
Right.
And they want to get in front of Seattle. They really need their secondary. Really got cooked last year. It was the one weakness of their team. They had a great run game.
And McKinney can tackle.
Pretty good wide receiver.
He can really tackle.
They They obviously showed that because on 3rd and 15, their safety didn't get deep enough. So they really needed a safety there, and they're going to be able to take that.
Okay. Y'all excuse me. Around then, I'm looking over to the side. We kind of have our board here. Has all the players. Has who we picked so far. Now, at 27, Seattle's on the clock. The team he just traded ahead of, but he also has their pick.
And
go ahead, Seahawks.
I'm going to take Ross Blacklock, defensive tackle out of TCU.
Right.
They can't get a safety here. They could pick up a corner. There's still some guys sitting on the board, but they really need a D lineman. So they're going to take Blacklock.
Okay. Blacklock.
Blacklock.
Right.
That's what I said.
They said Blackhawk.
No.
Okay.
Blackhawk? What kind of name is
No, just that last
Blackhawk?
part. All right. Anyway, at 28, I've been waiting for this one. The Baltimore Ravens. Not who you might think. Think about what I have. I have the MVP of the league on offense. And what did they do last year? They had all these running backs they rotated with them. They had like a 3 running back rotation. Well, look at that rotation. Justice Hill, speed guy, still has really yet to develop. The running back out of New Orleans, I forgot his name right now. Golly, what's his name? Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram. Came from New Orleans, was a good player, but is getting older. I want a running back.
Ooh.
And I want a running back with speed.
Ooh.
I want a guy who, when Lamar gives that read, his own read, and he's off to the races. And I'm going to take a 226-pound burner out of Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor. Man, he needs to clean up his fumbles. He really does.
That's the only weakness.
But you don't find a lot of guys who are 226 pounds, running a legit 4.39. Guy was a 2-time track star in New Jersey, and this productive. I don't care about the carries. I don't give a crap about the carries. They talk about that. I think it's a draft myth. He had all these carries in college. Well, yeah, you're playing games against Bowling Green and Northern Illinois. Those linebackers are never going to sniff the NFL. It's nowhere near like getting hit by a Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker. And plus, he's built like a brick. The guy's just, all rocked up. And I love this pick. I love this pick at 28. All right, the Raiders are on the clock.
Raiders are on the clock.
Who need a running back, and I know that.
They got Josh Jacobs.
Oh, I said they don't need a running back. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they traded back for the simple reason that they really need a wide receiver.
They need a receiver. I know that.
And they can get one here. They got some value. They picked up some from the Tennessee Titans, and now they're going to take Justin Jefferson, wide receiver out of LSU, sitting on the board, really good value. I like him better than other people. People think Chase is the better one. I'm not convinced. Jefferson is really, really good, and I think he's really underrated.
They were all good.
And so now that leaves the Green Bay Packers on the clock, who also need a wide receiver.
So with the 30th overall pick, the Green Bay Packers, John's right, they needed a receiver. Devontae Adams was great for them. Aside from that, they really didn't have much. Aaron Rodgers getting toward the end of his career. Let's get him a weapon. I thought about KJ Hamler, kind of a one-trick pony. Really fast. That'd be nice, but he gets hurt. I like Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims, receiver out of Baylor. Really has a lot of prototype traits. Played with a broken hand all last year. This is a generational receiver class for this draft, and still got a great player even all the way down here at 30. 31, the San Francisco 49ers.
I was going to say, I really liked Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
And that's who I would actually
A
take.
lot of scouts have him in the first round as well.
I
He's a
really
good
like
one.
him. I would have taken him ahead of Mims. Nothing against Mims.
No,
I like
they're
Mims
all
as
good.
well.
They're all good.
But San Francisco 49ers, really the one weakness of their team is their secondary. You look at it, their offense is great. Their front seven is dominant. They got Fred Warner and the whole defensive line.
Yeah.
And so they took a safety already. But Sherman's getting old. They need another corner, so they're going to take A.J. Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. Another really good
pick. Big corner. And with the last pick of the draft, a pick that's been traded twice, went from the Trees to the Niners, to the Niners, to the Dolphins. They need a running back. There are plenty of good running backs left on the board. I have a pick early in the second round. But let's try to get the one last legitimate pass rusher. I want Josh Uche out of Michigan. A little bit undersized, but he has a lot of length. He's got long arms, and if you look at a lot of the analytics, a lot of the PFF numbers, besides Chase Young, they had him one of the best pass rushers in the draft. We're Michigan fans. We know the player, and we love Uche. He was just on a bench for a while because he had such a deep rotation, and that dude has a burst. He is explosive, and he can really energize your pass rush.
I would have sent A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa.
I like him.
The better pick.
I like him, but he's like, I want someone with twitch. I want someone with the twitchy, explosive guy get to the quarterback. Epinesa gets there because he was just a damn good player with a good skill set.
I think Epinesa reminds me a little bit of Ryan Kerrigan, where he's like he puts a lot of work and effort, and he's got the mental side of things down. But I don't know about his like physical, how athletic he is.
He reminds me of a Ravens player. Ravens always took these guys, Terrell Suggs like that, who didn't test great, but were just great players.
Yeah.
But we've seen Uche play. We've seen his burst, his redirect, his bend. You can't get that. You either have that or you don't. Can't coach it, and you get a bad offensive tackle going against your guy. He's gonna have a real hard time dealing with that.
All right.
Okay, so this is our full mock draft. We want to thank you guys for watching Our Sport again. We're going to be back to once a week. We're going to have an episode covering the entire NFL draft next week. John, any parting thoughts?
Yeah, this is really fun.
This is
we're
a fun
probably
one to
we're probably
do.
going to revisit this at some point down the road and say who had the better draft here, because we're picking for our teams, and so we can see later on how all these players turned out,
Right.
and that'll be really interesting to see.
3 years from now.
Yeah, you had some interesting the move up with the Chiefs to get Ruggs.
Right.
Was
Well,
that was-
we're being cute. We're doing it for fun.
Yeah,
So
why not? That's
that is
interesting.
the most explosive offense since, I don't know, the greatest show on turf, Rams.
Maybe. Yeah.
And okay, thanks again for watching Our Sport. John, give him a shout out about everything they need to look out down here.
You need to click the subscribe button down below. If
Please.
you like this video,
Right.
please.
Please.
No, you have to.
You must.
And if you want to see more of our content, you can click the notification bell. It'll remind you every time we upload. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If there's anything you want us to talk about, whether it be coach, player, whatever it may be, you can leave it down in the comment section. We'll be sure to cover it.
We all got
Other
plenty
ways-
of time right now.
I got plenty of time right now. Other ways to come in to contact us in the description box. You'll see we have a Twitter account, Facebook account, Gmail. There's a bunch of ways that you can talk to us about Our Sport. And as always, thank you for watching.
We'll see you guys next week.